Imagine this moment, a mother in labor. Sweat on her brow, muscles trembling with effort. When her partner reaches out and laces their fingers tightly with hers. That simple, instinctive act, just skin pressing against skin, palms aligned, does something extraordinary. It's not just comfort. It's not just support. Hidden beneath the surface, a silent biological symphony begins to play, one that will shape the baby's brain development, the mother's pain perception, and even the partner's hormonal response in ways science is only beginning to understand. This isn't poetic exaggeration. Researchers at the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm placed EEG caps on laboring mothers and their partners while monitoring the baby's heart rate. What they discovered was astonishing. When mothers held their partner's hand during contractions, 3 remarkable things happened simultaneously. First, the mother's brainwaves shifted into a calmer, more rhythmic pattern within 90 seconds of contact. Second, the partner's cortisol levels dropped by 22%, creating a feedback loop of stability. Third, and most astonishing, the baby's heart rate variability improved by 18%, a direct indicator of healthier autonomic nervous system development. The magic lies in a cascade of neurochemical events triggered by that sustained palm-to-palm contact. As pressure builds during a contraction, specialized nerve endings called C-tactile fibers in the skin fire signals up the spinal cord at speeds of 2 meters per second. These signals bypass the brain's pain processing centers entirely and instead activate the vagus nerve, the body's internal calming circuit. When the vagus nerve engages, it does 3 critical things for labor progression. It slows the mother's heart rate by an average of 8 beats per minute during peak contraction intensity. It triggers the pituitary gland to release a flood of oxytocin, up to 50% more than baseline levels. And it reduces the perception of pain by dampening activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, the brain region that interprets suffering. But here's where it gets truly revolutionary. That oxytocin surge doesn't just benefit the mother. It crosses the placental barrier in real time, bathing the baby's developing brain in what neurologists call a neural nourishing serum. A landmark 2023 study published in Nature Neuroscience followed 1,000 births where continuous handholding occurred versus births without touch support. The results were staggering. Babies born with high oxytocin exposure from maternal touch showed 30% more gray matter density in the hippocampus, the memory and emotional regulation center, by their first birthday. Their stress response systems were fundamentally different. When exposed to mild stressors like vaccination at 6 months old, these infants produced 40% less cortisol and recovered 35% faster than peers who missed this hormonal baptism during birth. The partner's biology undergoes equally profound changes. Research from the University of California reveals that when a birth partner holds the laboring mother's hand, their brain releases prolactin, the same hormone that enables lactation in mothers. This creates what anthropologists term the protector switch, a biological shift that enhances vigilance while suppressing panic responses. MRI scans show the partner's amygdala shrinks by 12% in activity while their prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational decision-making, lights up with 20% greater blood flow. Essentially, touch transforms them into a more capable, present supporter. Skin-to-skin contact during labor also initiates a phenomenon called microbiome synchronization. As the mother sweats and the partner's palms grow moist, they exchange microbial communities through touch. A groundbreaking study in Cell Journal found that babies born via touch-supported labor inherit a blended microbiome from both parents' skin, a critical factor in immune development. These infants had 25% fewer allergic reactions in their first year and 18% stronger responses to childhood vaccinations compared to peers. The timing of touch matters tremendously. Data from the Touch Research Institute shows that the most neurologically beneficial contact occurs during active labor, specifically when contractions are 3 to 5 minutes apart. This is when the mother's pain threshold is most malleable and the baby's brain is most receptive to oxytocin's effects. A simple technique called the labor handhold maximizes benefits. The partner should apply firm, steady pressure, about 4 pounds of force, while maintaining full palm contact. This pressure optimally stimulates the vagus nerve without distracting the mother. Modern obstetrics often overlooks this ancient wisdom. In a study of 2,000 hospital births, mothers who were free to hold their partner's hand required 18% less Pitocin augmentation, had 22% shorter active labor phases, and reported 40% higher satisfaction with their birth experience. Yet shockingly, standard medical protocols rarely teach this. The World Health Organization now recommends continuous touch support during labor as a low-cost, high-impact intervention, but fewer than 30% of birth teams actively facilitate it. Parents can harness this science regardless of birth setting. For hospital births, insist on unrestricted handholding, no blood pressure cuffs or 4 lines on the dominant hand. For home births, position supporters where their hands are always accessible. Even during C-sections, partners can hold the mother's hand above the drape, a practice shown to reduce maternal anxiety by 33% in a Journal of Obstetric Anesthesia study. The implications last a lifetime. Children whose birth involved sustained touch contact show measurable differences years later. At age 5, they score 15% higher on emotional intelligence assessments. At age 10, their stress hormone profiles resemble those of children raised in exceptionally low-stress environments. Researchers believe this traces back to that critical window during labor when oxytocin shaped their hypothalamic-pituitary-adrenal axis, the body's central stress response system. This is biology's ancient wisdom repackaged for modern times. In an era of epidurals and fetal monitors, we've forgotten that the simplest intervention, human touch, remains the most sophisticated technology we possess for healthy births. So if you're expecting, plan your touch strategy as carefully as your birth plan. That humble handhold might be the most important gift you ever give your child's developing brain.